has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast, in the biggest way possible, hanging out the bad, see the broken, the bad, apple with a bad attitude. We are live in the Magic City Studios in the Barella Palatial in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fight and shake it up, should do bad. Along with the legend himself, Carver High, Mafia running it with Luke, I am your father. Thus is Coast to Coast on a Thursday on SportsGrid. Good to have you with us. We got Morency today, plus Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News, Dan Illman from the Daily Racing Forum. He's a host on their network as well. He'll give you his Derby picks for Saturday in the Run for the Roses. Plus Davis Maddock, Coach Young, and Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, all today on C2C. Live Dayball going on. And I'm not talking Brian Dayball. I'm talking Dayball, son. Baseball. Colorado and Miami 4 apiece. Bottom 10. Runner at second. 2 out for the Marlins. The Orioles lead the Yankees 7-2 in the 6th at Camden. Cubs up 5-4 on the Mets in City. Bottom 6. The Mets have a runner at third with 2 outs. Top 6, San Francisco and Boston at Fenway, 1 apiece. Bottom 2 in Arlington, Washington and the Rangers are scoreless. Only one night game, Cleveland and Houston at Minute Maid. We'll give you updates from the Byron Nelson in Texas. I'm sure you have that skinny Carver High, plus NBA and NHL playoffs tonight. We're talking about all of it. At the very least, what is going on at the Byron Nelson Carver High? We'll start with the golf right here since I gave all the scores already.
Yeah, well, you gave all the scores. I want to go back to one thing with you, but first I will give you the golf. We've got, of course, the Byron Nelson CJ Cup going on down in Texas. Look at these names at the top of the board, Scotty. Some of your favorites. Matt Wallace, Chasen Hadley the Angry Itch, Taylor Pendrith, Alex Noren, Justin Lauer. Wow, Cam Champ. Here's Jason Day, the defending champion, at 5 under, just 3 shots back of the lead. Spieth's playing right now as well. He's the only quote-unquote superstar, I guess you want to say, if you want to call him that anymore, that is there this week. So kind of a ramp-up week, Scotty, as we get ready for the Wells Fargo and the PGA Championship the next 2 weeks. But we have some golf today, and we have some guys in the first-round leader pot that we are trying to get through here this afternoon. So hopefully the weather holds up, because it's
always
very
enjoy
nice down there either.
The Arnold Palmer Invitational and the Byron Nelson, 2 legends, 2 great tournaments of 2 titans of the sport. I always liked the Byron Nelson coming off to Zurich. I got no problem with that. And they're down in Tejas.
I wish that some of the top players in today's game would share your affection for a legend like Byron Nelson and actually show up to his tournament. I mean, they don't show up to Byron Nelson's tournament, that's for sure. But this is one of those tournaments you love where the winner's going to be like 30 under by Sunday. It's a birdie fest, as they like to call it, down at TPC Craig Ranch. You gave the baseball scores, and I'm sorry. You know that this guy bothers me. What Rodon today? Nice job, dude. 6 runs, 4 innings for the Yankees, 3 homers he gave up to he gave up homers too. It's not like he gave homers to Gunnar Henderson. He gave the home runs to stiffs at the bottom of the Oriole lineup. What an awful job by him today. So they're going to lose 3 out of 4 in that series.
Yeah, he gave up 6 runs, 5 earned, and the reality of it is, Mike, that he has not been bad until today. Today was really the first game, right, that he's actually been lit up. And that's a good team you're dealing with. People, they see Yankees and they think, oh, the vaunted Yankees are back in business in the American League East. They're winning this year. They're on their way. The reality is that the best team in that division, I thought, going into the season on paper, was the Orioles. They were great last year. They lost in the playoffs, but their regular season was phenomenal, and they're a really good team. They're loaded with talent.
I was surprised because, yesterday I was thinking they couldn't score runs on Monday and Tuesday. How the hell were they going to score runs on Corbin Burns last night? And they actually didn't, but they still won the game, amazingly. There's been a bunch of low-scoring games there between the Yankees and the Orioles. The Mets just tied the Cubs, Scotty. I know you had that before, but 3 runs here in the bottom of the 6th, so that's a 5-5 game. Did you see the end of the game last night with Alonso getting thrown out at home in that Met-Cub game with the umpire and the 20-minute review and Mendoza going nuts? Did you see that finish last night?
I didn't see it, but I bet on the Cubs last night and won that game 1-0. And a lot of people said I shouldn't have won any money.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that the Cubs won the game. I think that the rule's stupid, but the Cubs did deserve to win the game.
What was the rule?
Well, this dopey blocking the plate stuff.
Oh yeah,
with the catcher and all. The Mets thought he blocked the plate, and if you don't have the ball in your hand, you're not supposed to stand in front of the plate. They should do away with all that. They should go back to the way it was, Scotty. If the train's coming through the tracks, if it runs you over, it runs you over. That should be the way that it should
I
go,
do have action on
guys.
that game again today. I have the Cubs again, and I have action on that, believe it or not, the Red Sox game at Fenway. And go figure, they're both tied, and both tied. 7th and 6th innings, respectively. The 7th inning is the top half of the 7th for the Cubs, and they're in the bottom of the 6th at Fenway. Both games are tied, and the Marlins just won that game in 10, 5-4 over Colorado.
Somebody had to win. 2 of the worst teams in baseball. Somebody did have to win between the Marlins and the Rockies. We are obviously going to get very in-depth today on these playoff matchups tonight and the ones from last night. We have we don't have a lot of games tonight, Scotty, but the games that we have
are great.
Are obviously very significant and of high consequence, including the Knicks and the Sixers, the Game 6 in Philadelphia, Leafs and the Bruins, a Game 6 in Toronto. This is going to be a great night with some really fun matchups and some good rivalries. I'm looking forward to it as we go through the day here on C2C.
It's amazing to me that, again, Austin Matthews isn't going to play in that game tonight for the Leafs, and it's Game 6 in Toronto. They got to win. There's no getting around it. They won on the Nyes overtime winner the other night in Boston. That was a miracle. Can they continue to pull a rabbit out of the hat without him in the lineup?
They have lost 6 straight playoff games at home, 9 out of 10 playoff games at home, and they will try to do it again without Austin Matthews tonight. Of course, we know what's been back and forth with the Knicks and the Sixers, Scotty. You actually weren't here the last couple of days since they last played. That was a wild finish the other night between the two of them as well. So will there be a Game 7 at the Garden this weekend? We'll find that out tonight in Philadelphia as well.
That was the worst, thing that's happened to me in a while. Watching that game the other night, it was devastating. They had that game won about 5 times with under a minute to go, and they still found a way to cough it up and lose. And then, Maxey hits that logo bomb, and then the calls came out after the game again. It's the second time that they've come out with the last 2-minute report where they've basically admitted that the refs have butchered the series. Game 2, they butchered. Game 5, they butchered. You can blame the refs for both of those games. All the calls at the end of the Knicks game in Game 5 were against the Knicks. Hart was not out of bounds. They called him out of bounds. Maxey traveled and no call. They give him a and 1 on a 3, a 4-point play. The NBA and Adam Silver doing a great job of selling the media and social media and the general public that they have the greatest refs in the world. And in Portuguese, what it means is, if you spell it out in Portuguese, it means we have the worst corrupt, on-the-take, fixing refs in all of sports. Even worse than soccer all over the world. That's what it means.
I will say this. Beal is not going anywhere because I don't think he has enough value. If Phoenix gets knocked out in the first round, especially if this is like a sweep or a 4-1 series win for Minnesota, you will see Kevin Durant and or Devin Booker being traded.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off, I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money, I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the
show.
show.
Oh, what? Let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I think they're looking for a space where they can be comfortable, perhaps make some NIL money in the process, but be better set up long-term as opposed to it being 1 year jumping around.
You want to kind of get your core players that have been there a couple of years, and then go get the high-profile recruit and then supplement at the transfer portal.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
It's the BetMGM offer of the week. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. For all the games in the playoffs. Set your picks and shoot your shot. And turn any game into a must-watch. Download the BetMGM app, and it's on.
All right, we're all back on C2C. Always great to have Morency on every day on Coast to Coast. You can catch him weeknights at 10 to 1 on all of our outlets, SportsGrid TV, SportsGrid, the SportsGrid app, sportsgrid.com/watch, all of the OTT TV platforms that we're on, all of the radio, including 1090 in San Diego, from Mexico to the Canadian Rockies, all over the West Coast. And, of course, Sports Byline, USC, and all their great affiliates, SiriusXM, Channel 159. Weeknights at 10 right here on SportsGrid. Catch Sports Rage unequaled by its peers. Morency, I'm going to go back a couple nights when the Predators won in Vancouver. Yossi had a big game. Carrier had a big goal. Saros was tough in net, and they staved off elimination in the Canucks building. Tomorrow night, they're going to go at it again, this time at the Bridgestone, where Vancouver won the last time they were in there to grab the commanding lead in the series. When they came back from down 3-1 with 3 minutes to go, that was when they won in overtime, 4-3 on the Lindholm goal. What do you believe in here anymore in this series? What do you think after the games are so crazy and back and forth and the least likely team wins every night?
This is a type of series. It's like the Al Pacino speech at Any Given Sunday. We fight for every inch, and at the end of the day, the inches will add up. That's all you can do. You can battle every shift and hope at the end that you win the game, Scott. As you stated, this series has been bizarro world in which the team that's been dominated ends up winning the game. The team will play well, but they'll lose. It's been all over the place. One theme that we've seen, though, has been that home ice has been a bigger disadvantage, right? The Vancouver Canucks, there's a lot of like pressure in the air and excitement, right? They haven't had a lot of, any success in a long time. They're on the verge of winning, the building. Very similar to the Knicks, Scott, the other night. You know, you're a minute away. Oh, my God, they're going to win the series. They're advancing. This is real. And then, boom, it falls apart. Like, that's what happened to Vancouver the other night. Yet, and I'm sure we're going to get to the Leaf game in a couple of minutes here, Scott, but the Nashville Predators, bro, have lost 5 straight home playoff games, Scott. You know, all the talk of Smashville this and Nashville that, oh, it's loud and it's hard to play there. They've lost 5 straight home games. Vancouver won the 2 games on the road. So cosmetically, it seems like hard to say, wow, you know what, they're going to win all 3 games in Nashville. They probably do. I would not be surprised at all if they finish them off tomorrow. And if not, I'll be at Game 7 on Sunday night, Scott. It's good news, bad news. If the Canucks lose the game tomorrow night, I'm going to a Game 7 on Sunday night. If they win the game, hey, then they won the series and we're moving on, and I'm going to see the Edmonton Oilers next week.
Well, listen, they're plus 110 right now to win that game tomorrow night in Nashville. Now, you mentioned, obviously I think it's going to work out for you in some capacity. They're either going to win that game or they're going to win, I believe, Game 7 in their building. Now, tonight, the Leafs, who have the same kind of problem in their building that Nashville does, is up against it one more time, down 3-2 in the series to the Bruins. They won in overtime on the nice goal, and that was in Boston the other night. And now tonight they have to win again, and yet for the second straight game, no Austin Matthews in the lineup, and he's by far their best player.
I actually think it sounds crazy to say this. I'm not an Austin hater or anything like that, but what has he done in this series? He doesn't do anything besides score goals, Scott, and he's not scoring goals. So what's he really bringing to the table for them? He's quit on plays. He's a bad leader, as we saw when they melted down on the bench the other night. In the long run, they need Austin Matthews, but look at the way they played the other night. Tight checking, responsible. The Maple Leafs often look for a goal, Scott, right? They're looking for that. They think it's going to come easy for them, right? We're going to skate in. It's like the regular season. They don't play playoff hockey. Right? Their style is not conducive to the playoffs. Doesn't mean they're a bad team, but they're not a playoff type of team. The other night, without Austin Matthews, dude, they just went to like hockey 101. It was like dump the effing puck in the corner, go crash, bang, flick it in front of the net. All right? Flick the puck at the net. No one-timers, no fancy slap shots. Flick the puck at the net. And they just sort of willed themselves to victory. And like I said, would I rather have a healthy Austin Matthews? Yes. But the fact of the matter is he's not there. Very similar to Kawhi almost, Scott. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're not here. You come back. You're out. You're in. It's almost better if you're just not here at this point, right? Where, it's hard to deal with.
What do you think's wrong with him?
With Austin Matthews? I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think? He's ill. They said he's got an illness. What is that?
No, they're lying. They're lying. He's got an injury. I don't know. Like, the Leafs are very secretive in a regular season. Dude, he's not sick. He's skating and stuff. And they said, doctor's orders, doctor's decision. Well, if you got the flu or somebody said long COVID and come on, long COVID. Yeah. We got a laugh out of that last night on SportsGrid. Said maybe he's got long COVID. But Scott, so the Leafs have lost 6 straight home playoff games.
Right. They're just as bad.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of Nashville, too. Nashville's like, it's music town, SEC. They're just getting lit up and listening to Pantera in the arena. Right. They're just there for a good time. And it's all loud. Then you get Toronto. Toronto's almost like New York Giant-ish. They suck, but they think they're prestigious. We don't need cheerleaders, right? We don't need to play loud music. We're the show. It's like your show sucks, all right? You haven't won since 1967. So... And there's like an anxiety in Toronto with the fans that things are going to go bad and the real fans can't get in because the tickets are $1,800. So can they bottle this tonight? We're going to find out.
We'll come back with more Morency.
Dame get frustrated, miserable year in Milwaukee, does he ask out? Does Giannis ask out? Well, you ain't got no one else to trade. Middleton makes a ton of money, old. Bobby Portis makes a ton of money, old. Brook Lopez makes a ton of money, old. Pat Connaughton's going to give you nothing in trade value. So to me, watch Milwaukee. Folks, this could be the end of the Bucks dynasty.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, what? Let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I just don't want to play for clicks. I want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. Him leaving Colorado, a shot across the bow at Dion. I don't think Dion cares.
We saw Logan Diggs move on from LSU to Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Don't be shocked if you see John Emery potentially maybe at another school, maybe like a Miss State or even maybe like a Texas A&M.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
We're talking to Morency in Vancouver. So the bottom line is, do you think they're going to choke again tonight, the Leafs, like they do every year? I mean, it's just all they're doing is teasing everybody with this win in overtime the other night that they are in this thing, and now they're at home, and everybody thinks they're going to, even if they're not winning this series. They're either losing tonight or they're losing in Boston. They're not winning it.
I'd like to see – I'm not a Maple Leaf fan. But most people hate the Leafs. Unless you're a Leaf fan, you hate them. I don't hate them, but I'm not a fan. But I would like to see them win. I'd like to see them win the series. I'd like to see them come back. I'd like to see them win tonight. As you stated, though, Scott, the way that this script has gone in the past, it's really hard to believe it. Like, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to bet on the Leafs and just sort of not go crazy on it and expect to lose. You know what I mean?
You just want to lose money tonight? Is that what you're telling me?
I just, it's like Peter Griffin walked up, and he bet. He goes, I like to bet $100. And the guy at the sports book said, you want to pick a team? He goes, no, just keep it. And he walked away. Just keep it. Just keep it. So
that's exactly what you're doing tonight.
No, but it's not that much. So, I mean, listen, the game's a pick 'em. It can go either way. Boston aren't a great team. They work hard. They do their thing, but they have their limitations. I think Florida will sort of smack them around. I know 1-7 last year, but I think Florida will beat them. The Leafs can beat these guys, and Boston have their own demons, Scott. They blew a 3-1 series lead last year to the Florida Panthers. But as you stated, I almost get that feeling. The Leafs come back. They win in overtime. They're going to have
It's not a pick-em anymore. It's Boston's favorite, minus about 35, I'm seeing.
Yeah, well, it's a moderate price. The game's a toss-up. Right. This game's a toss-up right now. Yeah, you're getting plus 110 right now. The Leafs, I see a minus 130.
Is a toss-up. Their history, it's tossing up food and chucking all over yourself. That's what their history has been since '67.
The Bruins only have one cup for all their success throughout all the years, like in the modern era.
Yeah.
Right. They have a lot of failures as well.
Good.
They're good, but people don't talk about it in the same way. But Boston choke a lot.
So you live there. Like a lot. Time out. I don't care. I hate Boston. It's making me sick talking about them. I want to talk about when you lived in Toronto for all the years that you lived in Toronto, even though you are from Montreal. So you obviously grew up a Habs fan, and you didn't like the Leafs. When you lived in Toronto all those years, you had no interest in them whatsoever, and you kind of just sat on the sidelines hoping that they would lose every night and rooting for the Canadians?
No, I was just apathetic about them. I didn't like them. I didn't dislike them. Listen, you've been on the radio and TV for so long.
Right.
You know what it's like. You lived in so many different cities. You can't become a fan of every team that you move to a city of. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't work that way. Right? Like, but at times, if you're in a city, you might like the way a group is in the team. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, I like the Brooklyn Nets, Scott, before they brought KD and Kyrie in. When they had Spencer Dinwiddie, when they had, they had the kid on the Cavs now. What's it, Jared Allen?
Right. LeVert.
Karis LeVert, Kenny Atkinson, the coach. They were a scrappy team. D'Angelo Russell, they were a scrappy team. They made the playoffs. They were fun to cheer for, right? I was a Raptor fan before I moved to Toronto. So the only team I like from Toronto are the Raptors. See, I just sit on the sidelines. Everyone's like burning the city down after they lose. I'm like, yeah, I told you so. But I don't like root against them. And like the Canadians Maple Leaf rivalry. Yeah, it used to be a rivalry in the 50s, bro.
Did you go to the games? Did you go to see Leafs games ever
Not
if it wasn't
often.
the Canadians?
Not often. I would go like once a year type of deal. Not often. I didn't, I've been to so many hockey games over the years, but I do think they can win tonight. And just the last thing, Scott, how about this? If you want a little synergy, on this day, 57 years ago, the Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Montreal Canadiens in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals to win the franchise's 13th and to date last championship on this day.
So, who do you like tonight in Philly in Game 6 with the Knicks and Sixers? What do you think is going to happen there?
This is another one sort of like Boston and Toronto where I'm taking the Sixers, but sort of like, man, I can see Brunson stepping up and pulling it away and getting it done. But you know the league. We all want 7 games here. And let's take the over in the Bucks-Pacers game tonight. I expect the Pacers to score a lot of points.
Yeah, I like that as well. Morency, great stuff. We'll catch up with you, brother. Thank you. Have a good show tonight.
Dave get frustrated. Miserable year in Milwaukee. Does he ask out? Does Giannis ask out? Well, you ain't got no one else to trade. Middleton makes a ton of money, old. Bobby Portis makes a ton of money, old. Brook Lopez makes a ton of money, old. Pat Connaughton's going to give you nothing in trade value. So to me, watch Milwaukee. Folks, this could be the end of the Bucks dynasty.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, well, let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I just don't want to play for clicks. I want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. Him leaving Colorado, a shot across the bow at Dion. I don't think Dion cares.
We saw Logan Diggs move on from LSU to Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Don't be shocked if you see John Emery potentially maybe at another school, maybe like a Miss State or even maybe like a Texas A&M.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Always great to have Mike DeCourcy on Coast to Coast and SportsGrid from the Sporting News and Fox Sports. Mike, good to see you as usual. I know you were writing about LeBron James and Bronny James. And how do you think it's all going to find its way through? How do you think it's going to play out, if you will?
Well, what I fear is that Bronny will endeavor to make his father's dream. And this is not something that's been a private thing between them. LeBron has talked about it openly, publicly on many occasions. His dream of playing together with Bronny on an NBA team. And I think that's a fine aspiration to have. But Bronny has to be able to play in the NBA for that to happen. And he is not ready to do that on any level. It starts with the significant health issue he had late last summer. It impacted his freshman season at USC. He is not ready to play in the greatest basketball league in the world. He certainly wasn't ready to play in maybe the 8th greatest basketball league in the world last year, which was the NCAA. He wasn't ready to play there. So how is he going to be ready to play with Kevin Durant, or I shouldn't say against Kevin Durant, against Kyrie Irving, against Steph Curry? He's not. So his father knows this. He has to know this. And he needs to impart that knowledge upon his son. Look, I want to do this with you, but let's do it when you're ready, not when I say I'm ready. You do it when you're ready, and that time is not now.
Do you think the time is now for him to, which I would advise, transfer to Duquesne and play for the Dukes in Pittsburgh so that, Mike, you could drive down the street to watch Bronny play with the Dukes?
I could, yes, if he does choose to play for Duquesne, and that is a possibility. I think he's also looked at Ohio State, opportunity to play in the Big Ten. If he plays at Duquesne, he gets to play with his father's good friend and former high school teammate, Drew Joyce, who was recently named the Duke's head coach, his first head coaching opportunity. If he goes to Ohio State, he gets to play in the Big Ten at the school that his father often has said that he would play.
I think we lost Mike there for a second. The deal is that Joyce has taken over the program at Duquesne, and obviously if Bronny goes there to Pittsburgh to play at Duquesne, he's going to get massive burn, and he's going to play with his dad's buddy and for Joyce. I mean, I think, set up nice and juicy for him in Pittsburgh. I don't see any reason why Ohio State is appealing to him. I mean, he wasn't successful at USC, and frankly, USC's chick program was better than the men's program, and now Enfield is gone, and I just think there's so many, situations where I think he'd be better off playing in Pittsburgh in terms of, his game on top of Pittsburgh looks nice. In Columbus, I don't see it. I just don't. He wants to play in the Big Ten. Well, he was playing in the Pac-12. What was wrong with that? Now all of a sudden he wants to play in the Big Ten. I think at Duquesne, he could flourish, be a big-time player, actually star on that team there and do some things and still go pro. I think he could obviously make it to the NBA. He needs more time. I don't disagree with Mike DeCourcy at all. Obviously, we lost Mike. Technology, always a mother, isn't it? So all I know is, Mike's right about one thing. We've said the same thing all along on this show, that he's not ready for the NBA. And then Mike even elaborated that LeBron has to know, and he does know. Everyone knows. Anyone that knows anything about basketball knows that kid isn't ready for the NBA. And I think that if he gets drafted in this draft by the Lakers, it's almost a joke to me. They know that kid is not NBA savvy or ready at all. His game is not even close to NBA ready. And they're doing this to please his dad. They're doing this to make LeBron happy, or the deal that they offered LeBron, obviously. And we have Mike back. Mike, I'm picking it up at the point where I agree with everything you said. I believe I've always said on this show, he's not ready. He wasn't ready when he was at USC. I said, I don't see why, frankly, Ohio State's any better for him. To me, Duquesne's perfect for him. He can play for Joyce, star on that team, become a star player at Duquesne, and then still eventually, inevitably go to the NBA. But his dad, when they lost the other day, by the next day, I knew that night, I had predicted on this show, I said, they're going to lose tonight. The first question is going to be, are you finished playing? And then I said, that's going to be the press conference afterwards. And I said, he won't talk, and neither will AD. When they lose, they're grumpy. And then the very next day, the Lakers said, we'll give him a 3-year extension at $165. LeBron James doesn't need anybody's money anymore, okay? He doesn't need a new juicy 3-year max deal as a free agent. He doesn't need any of that. All he wants to do is play with his son, but that's not going to happen. Now, if they draft him in the NBA this year and put him on the Lakers, I think it's almost a joke. When you're not ready to play in the NBA, shouldn't be in the NBA just because they want to make his daddy happy. I think it's ridiculous.
Oh, I don't think that there's any justification for that at this stage of the game. I had my questions about Bronny as a prospect when he was in high school, before all of the health issues. I thought he had the potential in 2 or 3 years to be an okay NBA player. But the idea of drafting someone who struggled as he did, and again, he has all the excuses in the world to have struggled, because not only did he have, even if there was nothing to the surgery, and that's certainly not true, but even if there was nothing, there was the absence from training and competition for roughly 3 to 4 months. And that there's no player who misses that much time in college and comes back and is their best. There's no player. It all has an impact when you have significant offseason absence. So I don't blame Bronny for where he stands now, but I would criticize his father if his father does not step in. And I'm not saying he should forbid him, but he has to shut the dream talk down, because he knows better. He knows his son's not ready to play.
I agree.
I should say that I have seen parents who have been delusional about their children relative to athletics. So maybe that's Bronny's problem as well. But his father should know better. His father's been in the NBA for more than 20 years. He knows what it takes to make it in that league. And I do think that if his son is going to have a career, you have to enter the NBA when you're at least somewhat ready. And he's not even close at this point. So what he would essentially be would be a lure to get his father to either re-sign or to sign somewhere else. And then when his father's career was done, then there would be no reason to keep him. I just don't think that's good for anybody.
Respectfully, I got about 35 seconds. I've always said LeBron can still play easily. He's still got mad game, but he just, in my view, at some point has to get sick of the grind.
Well, I think he might, but that's one of the beautiful things about LeBron, and the underrated things about him is that he doesn't get sick of it. People talk about how madly competitive other great players in the past, wink, wink, have been, but LeBron doesn't walk away at the end. He keeps coming back, and he keeps playing great, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Mike. Sorry we lost you a little bit today. We still got enough in about Bronny and LeBron to satisfy my appetite. Thank you. Next time we'll get you on for the full slate.
Dame get frustrated? Miserable year in Milwaukee. Does he ask out? Does Giannis ask out? Well, you ain't got no one else to trade. Middleton makes a ton of money, old. Bobby Portis makes a ton of money, old. Brook Lopez makes a ton of money, old. Pat Connaughton's going to give you nothing in trade value. So to me, watch Milwaukee. Folks, this could be the end of the Bucks dynasty.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. Taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Cast the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, what? Let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I just don't want to play for clicks. I want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. Him leaving Colorado, a shot across the bow at Dion. I don't think Dion cares.
Saw Logan Diggs move on from LSU to Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Don't be shocked if you see John Emery potentially maybe at another school, maybe like a Miss State or even maybe like a Texas A&M.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
BetMGM's first bet offer is so significant, $1,500 back in bonus bets. If you make your first bet and it's like $1,500 and you lose the bet, they're giving you $1,500 immediately in bonus bets paid back to you into your BetMGM mobile app account. How do you get the offer? 4 easy steps. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android or go to BetMGM.com. Sign up, deposit at least $10 in your new account. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. So if the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. The BetMGM $1,500 back in bonus bets is ridiculous. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's doing it. They just won't admit it. Check it out at BetMGM.com. All right, Carver High. The Mavs look like they're holding all the cards now, if you ask me, after that blowout win at the Crypt in Lipstick City last night.
Yeah, they did not get much resistance, Scotty, from the Clippers at the Crypto last night. 123-93. They now take a 3-2 series lead back to Dallas. We had some fun yesterday. Like, Luka ran around L.A., Scotty, telling everyone how sick he was. I'm not feeling well. If it was a regular season game, I wouldn't have played. I knew it was all nonsense because I just felt like your boy was going to have some big night. And sure enough, 35, 10, and 7 for Luka. Here he is draining threes in the second half on TNT.
Switch on defense. Powell picks up Doncic. Shot clock at 2. 3. Bullseye! Finally got a 3 to go for Luka.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I don't even care if he's sick. He still pours it in. You see the way he controls the ball, the tempo, the game, every possession, their entire existence is because of him. Like, you could even look at, like, Kyrie last night. That was, relatively boring what he did. It wasn't a big night. It was just ho-hum. Meanwhile, every night is this Doncic guy just taking over, scoring ad nauseum, rebounds, dropping dimes, getting everybody involved, making points just happen. He creates buckets no matter who he gives the ball to. It's always the perfect setup for a good look. I mean, he's always giving it to the guy with the best look available, too, if you've ever noticed. He's not passing to guys for bad shots and impossible scoring situations. He's always finding the guy that can have the easiest look at the rim and at the backboard and scoring points. So he's incredible. They're going to knock them out. I think eventually those problems, no Kawhi, healthy, this, that. I said before on the show earlier this week, these guys, I think Powell does a decent job of scoring, but when they're playing guys like Coffey, etc., I think they're a much weaker team than normal.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help when you get like last night where Harden and Paul George missed every shot. They basically missed every single shot. They were awful. Harden was 2 for 12 from the field, and George was 4 for 13. So if those guys are going to shoot like that, they have absolutely no shot with Kawhi not playing. Here is Luka. Of course, one more to go. There's no looking ahead. The job is not finished.
How do you feel overall about the way your stance, your position right now?
I mean, today I think it was a very big game. We win, and now we got to win 1 out of 2. So we got to go back Dallas, play the same way. We know our fans going to be amazing at home, so we just got to win one more. We didn't do nothing yet.
So, look, it's never easy, but the game that I hit where they were up 31 and I was getting 5.5 and they covered and won that game because of Harden and those 3 late floaters in the paint. Those were great plays, by the way. In that game in particular, George went off in that game in the first half. That's how they built the 31-point lead, is that Paul George was jacking shots from everywhere and they were all falling. When what Carver High said happens, when neither one of them are hitting, then they have no one on the team that scores besides Powell. And Zubats doesn't score enough. He's clumsy. But that's just bottom line, right? Like, when do you get besides never, a 25 or 30-point game out of him? Never. How's that sound? So The reality is this. They got him right where they want him. They need to finish them in Dallas in Game 6, and that's the end of it. If they mess around with this team and go back to L.A., they could very well lose the series. Stranger things have happened.
Yep, that game will be tomorrow night, Scotty, in Dallas. The Mavericks are now, I believe, -8 Bills for the series for them to move on. There it is, -8 Bills, and plus 550 if you think the Clippers can win the next 2 games, 6 and 7. I think Dallas finishes it tomorrow night, Scotty, personally.
Well, I do too, because he's going to get to the line a lot, and he gets all the calls because he cries so much, and they're going to be in Dallas, which will give him even more reason to get the corrupt refs in the NBA involved to give him whatever he wants. What they're going to do is, just so we're clear, they're going to get this guy on the conference semifinals and on national television as much as possible, because business is good for Adam Silver as long as his face of the NBA is playing. And his choice for that is not, believe it or not, Joker, who he's already used him up for MVPs and fame. Now he's going for Doncic. He wants Doncic to be the face of the NBA. Now, he's European, but everyone loves Luka. Everyone loves him. Meanwhile, nobody feels that way about Jason Tatum. Nobody feels that way about Jaylen Brown. No one loves them. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I know everyone thinks it's cute. He brings his kid to the game and all that nonsense. They try to sell that all the time. But the reality is they want to give, and Shai Gilgeous is too shy to want to be a superstar. He is a superstar, but he don't want any part of being like talking and doing all kinds of appearances and everything else. Luka is the guy for the job, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get him into the next round. And I won't be surprised they do whatever it takes to get him into the conference finals and the NBA finals. That's how Adam Silver makes money, with Luka Doncic in every big game. And that's exactly what you'll get. I will bet my life tomorrow night they get every single effing call in that game. And the Clippers spend the whole night screaming at refs and getting teched up. Watch.
Dame get frustrated. Miserable year in Milwaukee. Does he ask out? Does Giannis ask out? Well, you ain't got no one else to trade. Middleton makes a ton of money, old. Bobby Portis makes a ton of money, old. Brook Lopez makes a ton of money, old. Pat Connaughton's going to give you nothing in trade value. So to me, watch Milwaukee. Folks, this could be the end of the Bucks dynasty.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, well, let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I just don't want to play for clicks. I want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. Him leaving Colorado, a shot across the bow at Dion. I don't think Dion cares.
We saw Logan Diggs move on from LSU to Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Don't be shocked if you see John Emery potentially maybe at another school, maybe like a Miss State or even maybe like a Texas A&M.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, a pleasure to have Dan Illman on from the Daily Racing Form, and you can follow him on X at capital D, capital R, capital F, _ Dan Illman, his name ILLMAN on X. You're good to go. Follow him for all your horse racing and Derby action on Saturday, the Run for the Roses. Dan, good to see you. Obviously, I just mentioned these three early favorites for this race that everybody's talking about leading up to Saturday in Fierceness, Sierra Leone, and then Catching Freedom. There have been some changes. Encino's out of the Derby. What's the latest news coming out of Louisville?
The latest news coming out of Louisville, Encino is out. He suffered an injury. Thankfully, he's only going to be on the sidelines for about a month or so and will resume his career in the summer. That gets the number 21 Epic Ride, a true long shot into the race. I think the big news today is the weather. It looks like there's going to be a ton of rain in Louisville on Friday for Oaks Day. They're hoping to have the track dried out and the weather will clear up on Saturday, but we might have a little bit of moisture on this track for the Derby on Saturday.
So the Oaks is always a great event on Friday. It sounds like, from what you just said, that it could be messy.
It looks like it could be messy, and there was a late change in the Oaks today as well. The number 1, Tapit Janali, has been scratched. That gets a true contender into the race. The number 21, Our Pretty Woman, gets into the race, and that horse has won twice. The only filly in the race that has won twice on wet tracks. So she might be one you want to consider, especially if the track is messy.
Who do you like in the Oaks on Friday in those types of conditions? Has it changed your opinion of anything based on the track itself being that sloppy?
Thankfully, it hasn't, because the filly that I like has proven herself over fast and wet going, and that's Leslie's Rose going out for the Todd Pletcher barn. This filly showed a tremendous amount of natural talent in her first few races, and then 2 starts back didn't really run very well. It was just a situation where she didn't like being down inside and getting the kickback in her face. She improved last time out at Keeneland, running in the prestigious Ashland Stakes for her final prep. She did get dirt in her face. She relaxed. She got to the outside and came with an explosive late kick to beat last year's 2-year-old filly champion, just FYI, who is also in the Oaks. It's not a great post position for Leslie's Rose, but I do think she has enough speed to get into good position without having the trip hamper her.
Dan Illman with us talking about the Oaks and the Derby. There you go, your Oaks superfecta with Rose, and then these others, the 8, the 12, and the 5. Now let's talk about Saturday, if you will, because Pletcher has this favorite going, but the horse is coming out of the 17 slot, and it hasn't happened. It's been 45 years. I mean, you're almost looking at a half a century since a horse has won from that far outside.
That is true, but you have to also check out some of the horses that have broken from post position 17. They had a lot worse things going against them than the post position. Some of them were simply flat out slow, and that's not the case with Fierceness, who's the most naturally talented horse in this race. Last year's 2-year-old champion, brilliant winner of the Florida Derby, but this is a horse that can be had. He had a perplexing effort in the Champagne Stakes last year. He was terrible in his first race in 2024. When things don't go his way, he sort of underperforms, and he's not the kind of horse I want at a short price.
What about Sierra Leone out of the 2? Another spot that is a difficult gate to come out of and win at Churchill Downs. But this horse had quite the rack of points leading into the Derby season to get into this race. Tell me about Sierra Leone and the shot from number 2.
I think he's got a huge shot in this race. He's coming into it the right way. Chad Brown put blinkers on him. He sort of lacked a killer instinct as a 2-year-old. In his 2 starts this year, the killer instinct is there, rallying from well off the pace, showing super agility in both of those starts to win the Risen Star and the Bluegrass. It's all about whether he gets a trip. He's going to be far back early, but if you give him pace, which he'll get, and if he gets clear sailing, you'll know him in the final 8th of the Derby.
Wow, so you love this horse. And then can we see that superfecta again for Saturday? Can we put that back up? I think it's crucial here. The 2, the 17, the 12, and the 11. That's what I try to remember, all these numbers, so that I can get some tickets going on it. You like this horse to get it done.
I like Sierra Leone to get it done. Keep an eye on that Forever Young from Japan, however, my 4th pick. He's a little bit of a sleeper. He's got a lot of talent.
Dan, appreciate it. Much love and respect. Enjoy the race on Friday in the mud, and Saturday, hopefully it'll be even nicer outside the Derby.
Dame get frustrated. Miserable year in Milwaukee. Does he ask out? Does Giannis ask out? Well, you ain't got no one else to trade. Middleton makes a ton of money, old. Bobby Portis makes a ton of money, old. Brooke Lopez makes a ton of money, old. Pat Connaughton's going to give you nothing in trade value. So to me, watch Milwaukee. Folks, this could be the end of the Bucks dynasty.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you for the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, what? Let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I just don't want to play for clicks. I want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. Him leaving Colorado, a shot across the bow at Dion. I don't think Dion cares.
We saw Logan Diggs move on from LSU to Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Don't be shocked if you see John Emery potentially maybe at another school, maybe like a Miss State or even maybe like a Texas A&M.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half. Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.